Hey guys, what's up? Caleb Downing here, and today we're going to talk about the differences between the Griffin Armament HRT 556 and the Dual-Lok 5. Let's get into it. Alright, so as always, I like to talk about things in their wheelhouse. I don't know if it's as always. That's what I've been trying to do lately for the past little while. Keeping things in their wheelhouse. One suppressor cannot do everything, and if it does, and it probably doesn't do it well. Right? Probably doesn't do any of it well. It may do everything, but doesn't do any of it well. So I like to try to keep things in their wheelhouse. The more and more you get into suppressors and even firearms themselves, you find that certain calibers, certain styles of things, they do a different job, and they do a specific job better than other calibers, right? Suppressors are the exact same way. You cannot get one 556 suppressor that will do everything perfectly. It doesn't exist. It just doesn't work that way, okay? It's like tires for a car. All use is great until you go try to drive in the snow and you get stuck. It doesn't work real, right? So hopefully we understand that. So the wheelhouses of these suppressors, the HRT 556, that is a heavy use can. That has a tube on the outside, gives it extra strength, also gives it more weight. But this thing you can throw on a belt fed and run it. This guy is very tough, very tough. The Dual-Lok 5 is still very tough, but not something I would want to put on a belt fed. This is significantly lighter. You can feel the difference. You can't, but I can. We'll talk about it in a minute. It's significantly lighter. It is slightly longer. I don't know if that's a ½ inch or so. It's a little bit longer, but even though it is a slight difference in length, it's definitely lighter. It has vents in the front that allow a little bit more flow through, and it is great for an everyday use can. I'm not going to say light use or light duty, because my understanding of a light duty can would be, you fire 3 to 5 rounds and you let it cool to ambient temperature. That's light use. That's like barely use a thing. That's like sight your gun and go hunting, and then that's it. That's all you're going to use it for. You could run this thing through a class. I would call this duty grade, whatever that even means. It's a made-up term, but to where you could use this if you were in a job that required you to use these on a regular basis and you needed it to work. I'd be perfectly fine with that. Whenever I was a cop, I would love to have had one of these and run one of these. It would have been great. All right, so everyday use can. Hard duty can, right? So, since we talked about our feelings about it and everything, let's talk about the actual specs. I'll throw them up there and kind of try to give you a side-by-side kind of comparison of what these things have to offer. All right, so according to the Griffin Armament website, the Dual-Lok 5 is 1.5 inches in diameter, 6.5 inches in length. It weighs 11.8 ounces. Mine on the scale weighs 11.1 ounces. It's made of 17.4 stainless steel. Dual-Lok mounting system. Decibel rating is 135 decibels on an 11.5 inch Griffin Mark 1, 134 decibels on a 16-inch Griffin Mark 1. Finished high temperature Cerakote, and it is full auto rated. Alright, the HRT 556, that is still same 1.5 inch in diameter. It's shorter at 5.9 inches. It weighs 14.4 ounces. It is made of 17.4 stainless steel and 718 Inconel. Attachment is Dual-Lok mounting system. Decibel ratings are 135.6 on an 11.5 inch Griffin Mark 1 and 134 decibels on a 16-inch Griffin Mark 1. Finish is high temperature Cerakote, and it is as well rated for full auto use. Alright, so that's the white paper looking at just the numbers and the stats and whatnot. Again, it goes back to what I said earlier. The HRT 556 is heavier, he is shorter, but he does have some Inconel in it, and he's tougher, right? The Dual-Lok 5 is lighter, 17.4 stainless all the way through, and fully welded, just a solid beast of a can, but not something I would want to stack up against like a belt fed. In my opinion, and that's just my opinion. I don't even have a belt fed, so I'm talking about things that only a fraction of the percentage of people are ever going to even have a use for anyway, so I'm going to stop talking about belt feds. Anyway, so my experience with these two cans, putting them head to head, they both sound very similar. All right, spoiler alert on that. They both sound very, very similar. I would say the Dual-Lok 5 has a little bit less back pressure. And from the shooter's perspective, that's close to it. And aside from the weight, that extra couple ounces of the HRT 556 that's heavier, you do feel that at the end of the day, shooting is like you're holding your gun up all day. You're not really doing that. But if you were hiking using this for a hunting suppressor, which I've done that, not on these specific suppressors, but that's a real thing. If you're gonna hike around and go try to find, something to shoot up in the mountains or whatever, which I've done, having a big suppressor, a heavy suppressor, that just sucks. That's not fun. So if you are a hunter or competitions that require you to maneuver and run around a lot, having a lighter can, you're gonna notice that. At the end of the day, you're gonna definitely notice that. All right, so without further ado, let's get out and shoot these things. Let's stack them side by side, and you give your opinion. You see what you think. Does it have better flash? Which one does better as far as that goes? Which one sounds better? Different hosts and different links. Let's go check it out. Alright guys, so hopefully you were able to pick up some differences. And I'm just going to say this. The differences in decibels, I don't know exactly. I'm going to have to go off the white sheet from, I think that's what you call it, from Griffin Armament from their website. I'm going to have to go off of that. Because real quick, to beat this horse to death, because somebody always asks why I don't have a decibel reader, why I don't do this stuff. A real decibel reader costs about $10,000. I'm not doing that. The little watch app or your phone app or the cheap $200 Amazon decibel reader doesn't measure the differentiation between 135 decibels and 137 decibels. It just doesn't work. So those would be made up numbers if I used apps and cheap decibel readers. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to have to go off of the sound that I pick up with my ear, the tone that I pick up with my ear, higher and lower. That's what I go off of. That's what I go off of. And honestly, if you got a can that said it was 130 decibels and you got another can that says 135, would you be able to know the difference? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But for me, as long as it takes the majority of the edge off, makes it pleasant to shoot, not silent. These are not silencers where they silence the noise. They're called silencers. But there is still going to be a crack of a supersonic projectile coming out of here. It's going to do that. So I'm not trying to make these things Hollywood quiet. So for me, it would boil down to what are you trying to do with these suppressors? If you need something that is like a tank, it is never going to break, it is stinking bomb-proof and heavy, then the HRT 556 would be great, right? I'm glad that I have this. This one's mine and I'm keeping it. This is a great can. I love it. It's great. Mounting systems are bomb-proof on these. Amazing on these, right? If you are in the market for something that's lighter, right, and even a couple ounces over hiking up a mountain, that's going to add up and you're going to feel it, right? Or competitions, you need to be swinging the rifle around, moving from targets to targets and then running and doing different things. I'm thinking tactical games and stuff like that. Having a lighter can would help. At the end of the day, it is going to help because you're going to be less fatigued. Even though it's a couple ounces, it's a couple ounces on the end of your firearm. The Dual-Lok 5 did have slightly better flow-through, so if that's something that you're concerned about, then there you go. It's got slightly better flow-through, so less port pop, gas to the face of stuff, less of that than the HRT 556. All right, guys, so that's my 2 cents. I'm going to wrap this thing up. Keep these things in their wheelhouse. Keep them in their wheelhouse, if I didn't say that right. Definitely keep them in their wheelhouse, and you'll be very happy with them. But I would love to hear back from you guys. If you have gotten either one of these or both of these, have you gotten both of these? What do you think they stack? How do you think they stack up against each other? If you did get one over the other, I would love to hear your reasons why, right? I'm not trying to be like nosy and whatnot. But honestly, to share that with the folks out there, to say I got this specific can over the HRT 556 because of what? I would love to hear those reasonings, and really even a generalized what do you look for in a 556 dedicated suppressor, right? What do you look for? Is it a specific thing you're looking for? Is it sound decibels, weight? What is it? Mounting systems? I don't know. I would love to hear back from you guys. Thank you for Griffin for sending this thing out. And again, thank you guys for watching. Watching the videos is more important than subscribing and all that. And if you did find it helpful, let me know. Let me know. Comment and stuff and things. I hate saying that. I'm done. Y'all be good to be safe. Appreciate you. Hopefully we'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya. Noticeably less gas to the face. Noticeably.